You've now entered the chat.
I know, you're such a busy bee.
Busy bee. Businessman.
Everybody wants you. A little piece of Brandon. A little piece of BO.
A little piece of me.
Sorry, it's BT now.
BT now. You know, hi guys, welcome back to the Chat Club podcast. Do you know, I asked my mom that like frequently because she did not just to like have like, because she really like, I don't know what to say about it. Like I asked her, I'm like, you know, did you ever really think it through for my initials? Like Brandon Olin, B-O, body odor. Like
when Brandon, like, I didn't put two and two together, but when we were like in middle school, he's like, oh my God, I wish I had different initials. Mine's B-O. And
literally.
I busted out laughing.
No, literally. And I was like,
my God, you need some D-O for your B-O? Being stupid middle schoolers that we were.
No, for real.
I thought that was hilarious.
No,
I
it's
thought that
so
was hilarious.
Like it is like it's funny looking back now that like if my name's changed and I don't ever have to go back to that life. I asked my mom, I was like, did you ever really like think about it? Like think it all the way through. And she was like, no, never. I'm like, really? Because you had like never. Chance 1 and that was Brady. And then you had chance 2, which was me. So like you made the mistake twice.
Yeah. And Brady will always keep his last name.
Yeah, Brady will always be B-O.
Yeah.
O-G-B-O.
The O-G.
The O-G.
B-O.
Faith, did you ever have like any nicknames?
No, I always wanted one. Always. And I never got any fucking nicknames. The only one I ever got when I was a kid was... I don't even want to say it out loud.
What was that?
All my relatives called me Faithy.
Faithy.
Like, cringe. At
least that's like...
I hated it.
At least that's like two syllables, right? Is that what it is? Yeah.
You're right. At least I finally got that 2 syllable.
Yeah, right.
I always hated how my first name was always 1 syllable.
Yeah. Because
in music class in elementary school, we would like bang on these African drums. I really don't know what the name of them were.
Yeah.
But our teacher, Miss Svensky, I don't know what she's up to these days.
I think she's still breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's a good sign.
Good. Can't say that about everybody.
So we were in this large circle and we were going like, down the row. We would have to like pound out the syllables of our name onto these drums. And everyone got, I don't think Brandon was in my class, but it'd be like, Brandon, Olin, you know. And then it comes to me and I wanted it to be such a cool rhythm and so fun.
Like unique, different.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, Faith, Jerome. And I was like, nailed it. Because honestly, I didn't know what a fucking syllable was.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I just make my own fucking rhythm.
Right.
And our teacher literally shouted, no! Your name is just Faith. Jerome. Move on, right? And I'm like, I sound so fucking basic and boring.
You're like dreams shattered.
My God, yes. And then this one kid who I already had beef with, but he was next and he had like the longest last name known to mankind. I'm just kidding. But it was like, I'm going to say your name, whoever you are.
Just say the last name.
Just say the last name? Okay, I won't say the first name. It was like, do.
Yeah, literally.
Like, oh.
It was like.
Nope, I can't say. Cut that out, okay.
I was like, I don't know what that kid's up to nowadays. Like,
yeah.
He and I had some like sketchy shit. So like, I was like, I just don't want to get into it.
Oh my God, we should do that though. We didn't say his real name, so you could totally say
No. No.
Because too many people know who we're talking about?
I think so.
Do those people actually follow this, though?
I mean, like, allegedly. They would...
They claim.
They claim.
Right.
Right. It's like... And I'm pretty sure he's a lawyer now. So I'm just like,
what?
Yeah.
Huh. Didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming.
Right.
Oh God, wild.
Yeah, literally. So Faith never had a nickname.
No nicknames.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
My dad, like him and his whole friend group from like elementary school and like in today's world still call each other by their nicknames. And I'm like, this is absolutely wild.
You know what? Maybe my nickname throughout like school will like forever follow me.
What's that? Don't. Is it? No! I was afraid you were gonna say that.
I had to.
Here's me hopeful saying it was Brando or something.
Oh yeah, that has like the only like Blaine calls me Nels, and that's cute, and I just think that's cute.
Well, I hear him call you Brando too.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, all right, Brando.
Oh my God.
You ready to go, Brando?
Literally everybody that we work with, like contractors, everybody, they think my name is Brando. Like they don't know my name is Brandon. Like they literally just call me Brando. Like in like a serious like setting, they're like, Brando, like how are you?
Right.
And I'm like, all right, that's like forever my name, I guess.
Right. I when I was working at American Girl, there's this this man who worked there, and he was so sweet, so nice. And everyone called him Alphonse, and I'm like, okay, that's like his tight knit group of people, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, thank you, Alfonso, right? And I was telling my friends, my group of friends at the table at lunch, I was like, yo, yeah, no, I got to meet Alfonso, and he was really nice. He was helping me lift up all those really heavy boxes. And they're like, what? They're like, there's no one named Alfonso who works here. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah, there is.
You might not know him. I mean, there's a lot of people who work here. And they're like, no, he's sitting over there, right? His name's not Alfonso. And I'm like, well, what is it? I was like worried it was going to be like Alfredo or something. But they're like, it's just Alphonse. And I'm like, what? I've never heard a name just Alphonse.
Interesting. I never have.
You know? Right? I've heard of Alonzo.
Oh, Alonzo. Well,
not,
you know an Alonzo.
But not like Alonzo. Do I know an Alonzo?
Well, he
personally?
owned that restaurant in Portage.
Oh, I only spoke to him when he was waiting on our table.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't in that tight.
Yeah,
group.
I guess that like I knew a few people who like knew him very personally.
Yeah, like uncomfortably personally.
Yeah,
you know?
like I wouldn't say professionally.
Awkward.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Cool.
We could say some things that could get us in trouble.
I feel so like dangerous today. Like I feel like feisty, like wanting to like just really spread some tea. Actually, I can't do that. Like my last podcast got me in trouble. So
it did.
Yeah, because like we were talking about someone who we went to high school with, someone who I was like on the podcast with, like a co-host, and like I thought we were talking about them positively, but then they ended up like sending a message to the person and I, like who I was my co-host at the time, and like stating
wait a second,
everything that we did not like.
Was this in the past?
Yeah.
So this isn't when I did the podcast with
No.
you?
Like this is like when I was doing Party with Brandon.
You're right. I forgot about that. I'm so sorry. No, I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, and I got like this long
it's all coming back to
message
me.
about like how I drug their name through the mud, apparently.
Well, listen, if they were doing shitty stuff, they're just
I mean, like, I did like shitty things too. Like I remember telling them that they were slutty ass bitches in like middle school.
I know, but here we are today. It's called growth.
It's called growth.
Okay.
Like I don't call people that to their face nowadays. Like yeah, literally, but no.
Closed doors.
No, right. No, I don't ever really think about them anymore. You know?
And the way you were talking, and it was about your experience in high school.
Yeah, like that was the whole purpose of the podcast, was like to like talk to people and their experience throughout high school as well. And like, basically I wanted to like spread the message that like our high school sucked. Like that was like the whole purpose of my podcast was like, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think they just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle hearing that
you
they
can't
were actually
handle
not
the
most
truth.
the perfect human. Yeah. Do you even know where that's from?
No.
Okay, so it's from this movie called A Few Good Men, and Jack Nicholson is the one who says that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Demi Moore's in it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's an interesting movie.
I quoted it. I didn't even know it, you know.
Oh, there's so many quotes that we don't realize where they're from.
That's so true. So true. So you guys, we are going to do a BB recap. We're filming this on Thursday this week, so we have seen majority of what happens. We have a really good idea about who's going home. I was literally so fucking confused throughout the whole week of who was going to go home and who wasn't.
Yeah. I'm still on that fence though. I really don't know.
Yeah. I like literally had no idea. But so last Thursday was double eviction, and Blue was evicted first. Which her interview with Julie was something.
I was like texting Brandon. I'm like, it was giving me Debbie Ryan.
Yeah.
Cringe. Uncomfortableness.
I walked into Disney and I spoke to the president and I was like, listen, I want to make history. And that's what we did.
That's exactly what we did.
Stop. It's so funny. No, so Blue got eliminated. She's sent to the jury house, and then it was HOH competition, and who won HOH? Jag?
No. Bowie.
Ugh, yeah, she won. Oh yeah, Bowie won. And I was like, literally with another mental competition, I was like, how did she fucking win again? I remember, okay,
right?
Now this is coming back to me. I was sending Faith like Snapchats, voice memos. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so she puts up America and Felicia. Yep. And then it's a veto. And it's basically the same competition as last double eviction. And Matt won that one. And then Matt wins again. And then refuses to use the veto. And
as usual,
which like was no surprise. And like we like by the time Bowie won, like when Bowie won HOH, I knew that she would never put up Cirie and Felicia, just because that's not what Jag and Matt want. And so when it came to voting, America was sent to the jury house as well, which I was like very upset about. And she was very upset, and it was really sad.
I know, but I'm like, I would be acting the same way.
But like,
please don't.
I know.
Seriously.
No, literally, yeah.
I'd be ugly crying. I
would be like,
I'm a good player.
Literally,
I'm a good player.
Literally. No, like I thought she was like she had good reasoning of being like, listen, like talking to Cirie, being like, listen, Matt and Jag are going to the end. Like this has been done on this show numerous times. Like this is just how it's going to be. And like she's not wrong. So I thought like I was like, America, speak your truth. Like she's the only one who really watched the show. Same with Corey. Like they really understood how the game works. Like so America was sent back, then we were down to final 5. Bowie, Jane, Cirie, Felicia, Matt, and Jag. And going into this week, I was like, what do we have to expect? You know, like what were your feelings going into this week?
Honestly, like I was rooting for Matt and Jag because I've always been a fan of Jag. Matt, he's just a tag along. I don't really care about him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I love Cirie and Felicia, but I really wanted Bowie Jane to just be on the block, but I know that wasn't going to be the case.
Right. I mean, we had like a 50-50 chance of Bowie Jane being the black.
Yeah.
Because like it was Matt and Jag basically versus Cirie and Felicia. And when they were playing HOH, like Cirie was kind of being shady to Felicia and was kind of like, because basically the game was like they had their faces on basically like a bowling thing.
Yeah.
It was basically like skee ball. It was kind of like skee ball. But like their faces were on these I don't even know how to explain it.
I don't know, like at the back of these boards.
Yeah, at the back.
And there's 3 per one house.
Yes. And you throw the skee ball down and you have to announce who you're aiming at before you throw the skee ball, and then you throw the skee ball and if it hits the person that you're aiming at, they're down 1. And you have to get down all 3 to eliminate them out of the competition. So like, you know, Matt and Jag were going after Felicia, and then Felicia was going after Jag and Matt, and then Cirie was like going after Jag and Matt, and then she kind of like flipped her script and was like Felicia, and Felicia was like, what are you doing? And I like could understand where Felicia was coming from, being like, it was like if you called my name out and I'd be like, the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Or like if I called you, you'd be like,
What?
Yeah, right? Like,
right? It's like if Matt or Jag said one of their names.
Right. It was just like shocking.
Of course they would.
But like, I can understand where Cirie is also coming from, because like Felicia was just throwing Cirie under the bus like last week when Jag was HOH. So I could understand. But ultimately, it came down to Cirie and Matt. And I was rooting for Cirie. I was rooting for her because I was like, let's flip the script. Like, it's been Matt and Jag's game.
I know. This is boring. I want something else.
Like, something needs to happen to switch up this game. And, which unfortunately didn't happen. Matt took Cirie out of the game, making him the new HOH of this week. And I was annoyed. I was like, fuck, like what? How boring, because now we know how the week is going to go. Like, Felicia and Cirie are going on the block. One of them's going home, and it's most likely Cirie because she's Cirie. So, like, we need to talk about the welcome to my HOH room.
Yeah, see, I've been waiting for that.
Okay, so you take it.
Okay. So Matt wins HOH, and how we've been saying this like whole time of when we've been talking about Big Brother, we never get to see their HOH room. So we get to see Matt.
Yes.
Okay. So as an HOH, you get this room and you get pictures of your family and friends, mostly of your family, because that's who you miss the most, really.
Right.
You get all your favorite goodies and snacks. You get a robe, and you also get a letter, usually from your family members. Okay. I understand where they were coming from with this, but I was so annoyed. So Matt gets a letter expecting it to be from like his mom, his dad, sister, whoever. It's from fucking Riley, his showmance that was only for 2 weeks max, who he saw sooner than his own family. And there's even a picture of her meeting his mom. And also, I saw that picture. His mom did not look pleased or excited about it.
So I follow Riley on social media, and she has been hanging out with like Matt's friends.
I saw she was hanging out with Jag's family.
Yes, hanging out with Jag's brother a lot. Hanging out with the Matt's like family, friends, and. You know, it's so funny because he's like reading this and he's like, I think I got a girlfriend after this. Like, and then I was like, dude, wait until you watch the show back. You were friend zoned so fucking hard. Yeah. Like, I remember where he's like, they're sitting in the Humiliverse room and he's sitting there and he was like, yeah, like, so I just like wanted to say, you know, I'm really into you and I really think you're really attractive. And she's like, aw. Maddie. And like, I gave him a hug and was like, thank you so much for telling me. And then like walked out the room. I was like, dude, you were friend zoned so fucking hard. And then.
Right.
So she does like these lives. Riley does. Yeah. Every Thursday. Yeah. I don't know if you know. Okay, yeah. So she does these lives on Instagram. And she's like sitting here being like, oh my God, Matt won. And I'm like, this is the most phony shit I've ever seen.
Yes. Like, she didn't give this kid a care in the world until she got out of the house and she saw how much the public shipped them.
Yes. And I remember,
and so
like,
she's like, "Ooh, let's bump it up a notch. I want
let's
more followers.
Play into this.
I want more likes."
Right. And like, I remember being like week 4 of the show, and she was like finally back home on Instagram, like answering some questions, and they're like, "What's your and Matt's relationship right now? Like after the show?" And she's like, "I don't know, like where like it leads us, but like it's like Matt is cool, and I really really like him. Like he's cool." So it wasn't like she was like, oh my God, like, I'm desperate to see him, or like, I'm really excited to see like what a relationship becomes after the show. It was like,
right.
He's a cool guy. I'm glad that he's cool. Like, it's just so funny. Mm-hmm. And on Twitter, it's so funny because like she gets eaten up. And they're like, this woman deserves an Oscar, like for how she plays it up. Like, it's just so funny.
Yeah, I would see TikToks of like, her lives of those double evictions whenever Matt would win, and she'd be like, "Oh my god, Matt won! Yay!" Like fucking London Tipton. I'm not joking.
That's exactly how it is. Like, that is exactly how it is.
Yeah, But what upsets me the most is that it's a letter from her.
I know.
You're in the house almost at 100 days.
Right.
You haven't spoken to your family. You haven't even seen pictures of your family. Right. And you get a fucking letter from a girl who doesn't probably even care for you.
I know.
In like the amount that you think she does,
I know.
But she doesn't.
I know.
When it could be good words and like encouragement from your freaking mom or your dad.
It just like was really, like, it was just so weird. I was like,
I love how you said phony because that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's very phony. Right? Yeah.
And then,
no, go on.
No, if you were still adding on to it, because I was going to talk about the whole trick-or-treating thing.
Oh, yeah, do that.
That's after the veto.
Yeah, let's do veto.
But that's after the veto.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So veto comes around, and what was the veto competition?
Okay, so it was a really weird one. I've never seen a competition like this. When they were in the water.
Yes.
So
thank you. I'm like,
they had
what? Okay, what was it? Yeah, okay, go on.
They had to build this like stack of rings to make this antenna to phone call help at this camp that they were at. So what they had to do is like they're all in this long row that's all water. You have to go underneath these like monkey bars very slowly and then grab a new like little ring and put it on top of this stack. But any kind of big waves you make will shake it and knock it down. And then you got to start all over.
It was a good competition.
It looked incredibly hard.
It was.
Like, I couldn't do that.
I mean, it looked I thought, I was like, oh, this is like fucking easy. But then I was like, wait. And then I saw how like it moved and I was like, oh.
Right?
Oh, this is going to take some time.
Right? And then there's Bowie Jane.
We didn't even talk about who Matt put on the block.
Cirie.
Yeah, like it's Cirie and Felicia. Like there's whatever. So like
even though he promised Cirie, don't worry, you're not gonna go home. I got you.
So fucking annoying. But
I know we talked about Cirie and Felicia always hating on Bowie Jane, but they got it right for now. So Bowie Jane has never been on the block, and Cirie and Felicia, who believe that they're in this final four with Matt and Jake, and they're on the block. Yeah. They're like, I don't understand why Bowie Jane ain't on the fucking block. Oh my god, that was a Felicia impression.
And like Matt is still feeding them like, oh no, Bowie Jane's the target. Like, are you fucking joking?
We can't freak her out right now with putting her on the block, because then she's going to fight really hard for that veto.
And then there's like her, like, slowly like a crocodile.
And then there's Cirie, who actually had time to look over at Bowie Jane. Bowie Jane. It was so funny. I just love how they're so annoyed with her.
No, literally.
But like for good reason.
But like fucking same. Like what a fucking floater. And like the only 2 HOHs that she had was like on pure luck.
Yes.
So basically it was the veto comes down to Jag and Felicia because they had the most of their antenna built. And Jag takes them home. Jag wins the veto, and it just like when I heard the news, man, I was just like, what fucking ever, like so annoying, and like, I don't know, it was just fucking annoying.
But so he also decides not to use the power of veto.
Keep the noms the same, of course, because it's Matt,
right? Yeah. But since it was a Halloween episode, they got to do this like trick-or-treating thing. So each house guest had like a pumpkin, and it all had candy in it. And I was honestly confused for a little while of what they're exactly
same. I was like, what is going on?
Where are they getting all the candy? Is there already candy in the buckets? And they just take it out, but then they had to put it back in. So it's like, how did Matt end up with 17 pieces and Felicia only 9?
Thank you.
What? I don't get it.
Thank you. I'm like, I literally was on my phone scrolling while they were playing this stupid fucking game. I was like, what is the point?
I was listening to it and like somewhat watching it when I was making snack for daycare. So I'm like, what?
Like, what is the point?
But I mean, long story short, Matt wins. He wins $5,000, which I don't understand still. Oh, and then so when he wins the $5,000, he's like, all right, now I'm gonna take Riley on a date. Oh. Like, no. Stop thinking about this bitch who you only knew for 2 weeks.
Like
pull your head out of your effing ass,
like Corey and America have more like foundation than those two. Blue and Jared.
Cameron had more of a foundation. Okay?
Yes.
Their bromance was way more real than this Riley Matt shit.
They had more chemistry than like...
Absolutely. Like, they even broke up and then got back together.
Yes. Like, it's just so fraudulent. Like, it's just so fraudulent. I don't know how else to say it.
I refuse to follow her on social media because of this reason.
It's just, I mean, I refuse to follow Blue, so that's just how I feel.
Fair.
So, no,
kitty purr.
Kitty purr.
Oh my god, my mouth got so big. Is that how big my mouth is? That is unfortunate. Anywho,
so tonight is Eviction. This is how I know that like none of these fucking people have, except Cirie, know what the fuck is going on in this game, because they all think it's another double elimination. And I'm like, have you guys watched this show? You guys are almost to 100 days. There has to be 2 of you left at 100 days. Like, are you dumb? And also, like, you just had a double elimination last week, and they only do max 2 a season.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand.
I don't get it. So, I was like, these people were dumb. So throughout the week, on the live feeds and like getting the information from the live feeds, I couldn't really kind of make who was the target, like Felicia or Cirie. And it was like kind of like at first it was like Felicia, and then it was like switching to Cirie because Bowie, Jane, and Jag kind of have this like thing where it's like they're kind of like talking and leaving Matt out of it. And like they're like, well, like we need to weigh our options, like with Felicia or Cirie, like who has the better chance of winning a competition, you know? And they ultimately decided Cirie, so like then Cirie's the target, but then like Matt and Jag and Bowie are like, no, it's not Cirie. But like, so I can't tell if they're lying or they're not lying.
Right. It's kind of like how it was like when they were deciding about Corey, if they were going to keep him or
Right.
not.
And like Felicia and Cirie were talking and they were like, listen, like, we should have kept Corey. Like, we should have kept Corey over America. And like, we just should have done it. And like, they're like, that's where we made the biggest mistake, because Corey would have at least had the balls or the chance to go after Matt and Jag. And I was like, yep, you should have also kept fucking America. But like with the double elimination, if it was a tie, it wouldn't have gone America's way anyhow. So she would have gone home ultimately. Yeah. But like this game is getting to the point where it's like, it's already concluded. And what I do only find interesting is that like Matt and Jag are both willing to take Bowie Jane to the final two.
Because they both can beat her.
Right. Because like
I can understand.
But like honestly, I'm to the point where it's like if it's Matt and Bowie Jane or Jag and Bowie Jane, I want Bowie Jane to win. like what if it's just her that wins?
Right? She's like the next Derek because she's never been on the fucking block.
Right. And like it would just be so out of the blue.
Yeah. And well, like that's happened in the past when the jurors were so butthurt with getting beat by someone that they choose someone that didn't deserve it at all.
Yeah.
Like Josh, who won, even though
God,
I think his name... What was his actual name? Paul. Paul should have won. He was runner-up both times. Yeah. He was on Big Brother.
No, you're completely right. But Paul plays a dirty game and like backstabs and lies the whole time, which is like part of the game.
Starts fights.
Right. And he didn't win because of that, because of the jury votes. And that's like what jury management is like really all about. It's like making sure they leave on a good note.
Have to have a good social.
That's just like not how I would do it. But Rachel Riley won.
Because everyone expected her gameplay.
She was so iconic. I love her so much. So basically tonight is elimination, and I believe Cirie is going home. I believe that's like what's going to happen. So I'm rooting for Felicia now, even though like she was the last of my ranking. Right. I mean,
I love Felicia, but
I have no hope for her.
I'm just tired of hearing her like, don't worry, I got the faith of a mustard seed. That's in my pocket, my robe pocket. And I'm like, I understand, but
the clip,
I don't want to hear about this mustard seed every freaking week
of the feet. You know?
I fast forward to it. I'm like, I cannot. The nerve she had
to like file her feet on Cirie's bed in front of her. I was like gagging. I was like, oh my God.
I was too. That's why I was like, I can't watch this.
I literally was like, Felicia, if someone did that to me, I would literally lose my mind.
Yes. And she was just watching her.
No, seriously, I would be like, so Felicia,
get the fuck out. Also, why didn't Big Brother give us a trigger warning? Because like, what the fuck was that?
Feet? Ugh. Gross. Also, like, they were giving that content out for free.
I don't think anyone want to pay for that.
Okay, so that was our...
She's like, you got the clippers, and then you heard the clipping sound.
Stop! No. It's literally so disgusting.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, so that's our BB.
No more Big Brother.
That's our BB recap, you guys. Ending it on a toenail. Ew.
A toenail hanger. Stupid.
It's stupid.
I was gonna try to say cliffhanger, but that didn't.
No, that's like what I was getting at as
moving
well. I'm like trying to make merch, you guys, for season 2, like the launch of season 2 and everything. And I'm like sending Faith these ideas. And Faith goes, I understand like where you're trying to get at, but like the execution is just not there.
It was just too long, but I understand what was happening.
Like,
and
you understand
I
what I'm trying to get at?
witty.
Like, okay, you guys,
Yeah.
if you guys are like visual listeners and you're like watching on YouTube, like write down in the comments. I like want to make something where it says like, okay, so like Faith, I don't know if this was you, but like when I was in middle school and like elementary school, I mean, probably even high school, like I would get my report card, like Brandon talks too much. Like Brandon is too chatty. Like Brandon chats too much in class. So I don't know if you ever got that.
Oh no, I definitely did.
Okay, so like I was
always mine always said loud and disruptive. Can you believe that?
Can you believe?
What the hell?
Unbelievable.
I have that quote because I don't know if you've ever had a Bumble account, but on my Bumble account it says like, what did your 3rd grade teacher describe you as? And I said loud and disruptive. But in my defense, I just want to be the star of attention.
Loud and disruptive. Wait, I kind of like that. Maybe we'll make like merch that says loud and destructive. And then also like, oh, thank you. Destructive. I mean,
no, destructive.
I know.
You're disturbing. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? No, like center of attention. Cute.
That's us.
I
mean, we are extremely vain people, but in a good way. So we should have something like that.
I think we're still like good people.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. We just love to look at ourselves. Hey.
You know, Paris Hilton said it was like, it was wrong to not pass a mirror and look at yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we are going to get into some stories. Faith, are you ready for the top 3 stories of this week?
Hit me.
Okay. So we are starting off with some news of a death of a star. Matthew Perry, Friends co-stars speak out after his death on Saturday, quoting, "We are all so utterly devastated." In a statement to People, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc. Okay. I was like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And David Schwimmer paid tribute to their late co-star and friend who portrayed Chandler for 10 seasons on the NBC hit show Friends. The Friends cast is mourning one of their own. 2 days after Matthew Perry's sudden death, his fellow classmates from the hit TV series, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, yada yada, spoke out in a joint statement exclusively obtained by People. Quote, "We are all so utterly devastated by the loss of Matthew. We were more than just castmates. We were our family." Their statement reads, "There is so much to say, but right now we're going to take a moment to grieve and process the unfathomable loss. In time, we will say more as and when we are able," the statement continues. "For now, our thoughts and our love are with Maddie's family and his friends and everyone who loved him around the world." And the message was signed by the Friends cast. So Saturday, we got like really abrupt news.
No one was expecting
it. No one was, like a very unexpected alert that Matthew Perry had passed away due to an apparent drowning at his home in Los Angeles. And there was an autopsy reported or obtained or like done or whatever. And but they're doing like a toxicology report on him that is not going to be released until further examination. So and I know that he's like suffered from like alcohol abuse and also like substance abuse. So it's just with like opioids and stuff. So it's really sad and really unexpected.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where you were when you first heard the news, but you texted me and I got it on my watch.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out with my family. So my dad was on my one side, my stepmom, Megan, was on my other.
Yeah.
And I read it out loud and I'm like, oh my God, Matthew Perry died. They both in sync. What? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Brandon just texted me. And I like went on Google and Googled it right away. And sure enough, I'm like, and I was reading, okay, this is it. It's a sad story, but I'm going to read you something funny that I said aloud. So I was telling my dad and Megan, I was reading the caption of the article and I was like, oh my God, I guess what cause of death is that he drowned in his apartment. And my dad was like, Faith, it says a parent, doesn't it? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
It's so us.
He's like, how did he drown in his apartment, Faith? And I'm like, he could have a pool. I don't know.
I
all
love
these emotions. I can't read right now.
I love you so much. You're like, I'm grieving.
I know. And I'm like, oh my God. He's like, I didn't even have to look at that. And I knew what it meant. And I'm like, Dad, shut up.
Jesus, bully. Wow.
I know. He always has it out for me. But
He always has it out for me. That's so funny. That's like me though. Like when I'm like reading something to Blaine goes, I'm sorry. When I like don't know, like I'm like dyslexic, I swear to fucking God.
I know. And I'm like, just give me a beat. Okay.
Give me a beat.
Sharpie.
Yes.
Why did I think of that as soon as I said it too? Okay.
Give me a beat.
Give me a beat. Boom, chicka, boom.
Yes. No, so Matthew Perry sadly passed away, and it's actually like really, really sad. I didn't know like okay, so like I didn't even think about Friends right away. I was like, oh my God, it's the 17 again star.
17 again?
Yes! Like that's how I was. I was like, oh my God. And they're like, oh, and then Leah was like, who's that? And I was like, he was on 17 again. And she was like, what? And I'm like, he was on Friends. And she goes, oh. And I'm like, unreal. I never even watched Friends.
I did. My mom always had it on. I watched it a lot, but I do think of the movie 17 again.
Yeah, iconic.
In my world, that was the last thing he filmed. I know that's not
literally
true.
Like that was,
but that's the last good thing. Okay,
like where was the Oscar for that? Like that should that should be studied because like that was like the year of the first iPhone. Like Zac Efron had the iPhone and like
holding it in his big hands. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like oh my God. So good.
The way he would just hit on his like wife though, but it was like bad because he was so young, and I'm like, oh, bad
literally.
Wife. There's this one line in that movie that it used to never make any sense to me.
Okay, what was it?
When I would hear it, so it was all of like his daughter's friends who are like the popular girls, and they see Zac Efron walk in, and they're like, oh my God, who is that? And this one girl's like, I don't know, but if he was an apple, he'd be delicious. Or no, he would be a delicious. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? A delicious? Just say, he would be delicious. And then I'm like, come to find out, I literally found this out like a year ago.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's, the name of an apple is a red delicious. So she's talking about a type of apple. I'm like, yo, that's the worst kind. Say Honey Crisp, okay?
That's like such a niche joke. Like, who wrote that?
Right? Preteens are watching this and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That was me.
That is so funny. Like,
just say he's
no
delicious.
one is buying their own apples at that point. Like,
who fucking knows names of apples? Okay.
That is so funny.
I didn't know there were names of certain apples until I worked at Quick Trip. And Amy's like, oh no, don't put that one there. That's where the Honey Crisp goes. And I'm like, what?
Amy?
It's an apple.
It's like a sleep paralysis demon. Like, I swear. Like, that's just like nightmares. That's just...
I love how that you were not holding back and you were still recovering from like laughing.
Yeah.
Just said it.
Like
Sleep paralysis.
Oh my God.
I hope you heard that, Amy. Cheers to you.
Shout out. Oh, fucking A.
That is so funny. But yeah, who fucking knew there were types of apples out there?
It's just like such a niche reference, niche joke.
Because it drove me nuts every time I'd watch that movie. And she would say, he'd be a delicious. Just say delicious. Did someone not cut out the A in that? I don't get it.
Oh my God. That is so good. So, to come back.
Right.
Rip Matthew Perry. I'm actually like, I'm really sad. Actually, I like found out that he has a memoir and I kind of want to read it. I'm almost done with Britney's memoir.
I saw that too.
So I kind of want to read it.
Yeah, I didn't know he wrote a book.
Yeah, I didn't know he wrote a book either. So I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know. Things are like, you look at things differently once someone's passed, you know? Yeah. Okay, moving on to story number 2. Okay, so a little T Swift news, you guys. Listen to 1989 Taylor's version.
I just started that.
Okay,
today.
did you listen to
when
that song?
When you told me to listen to it, when I was getting ready, yeah, and then I was listening to all the other ones. I didn't realize her New York song was on that album.
Oh, really?
You've been waiting for welcome to New York.
It's like, so you have to like, okay, like if you listen to like the stolen version and like Taylor's version, like the
stolen.
Yeah. That's what people call like the OG albums, as like the stolen versions, because it was stolen from her.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Anyways, so, well, kind of stolen. Anyways, so Welcome to New York got one of the biggest glow ups, like production wise. Like there was just so much more to it. And it just like felt more alive compared to the original. And like Welcome to New York like really hit it. Like when I listened to it the first time when it was like released, I was like, oh my God, like I'm freaking out because it was so like people described it on Twitter. It felt like a fresh can of crisp Diet Coke. So, yeah. So 1989.
Yeah, I was dancing along to it while I was putting my blush on.
Did you? So you listened to the song that I sent you?
Yes,
literally, it was like giving me life.
It was so good.
No, I'm like, like when she like, I'm talking about Is It Over Now? And it like, it must be a fan favorite because she just released it as a single. And I was like, no, seriously, like this is like so fucking good. She has a song on there called Slut. And I'm going to talk about this album for like a hot second. I know we're like almost to our time, but like, and we have 2 more stories to get through, but like we'll go through them. This album has vault tracks, and the vault tracks literally sound like they are from Midnight's, the album. And like, I know like Midnight's has like this like 80s like funky retro feel to it. And like 1989 was like about like the 80s and had like 80s elements to it. So like, I know like there's similarities with the album, but like they literally sound like they're from Midnight's, and I can't get it out of my head. And apparently like these songs are supposed to be like songs that she wrote during that era of her life that were in a vault, and like she released them after the album was released. But like I don't believe that. I believe that she wrote these songs after. Like she there's a song on there called Slut, and basically it's about like her dating men, and like if they call me a slut, who cares? And I'm like, during that era, she wouldn't have dared to put that on an album. Like, she wouldn't even swear on an album. You know what I mean? So, you should listen to...
Yeah, because that was when she broke off of country and started into pop. Right?
Yes. So, it was like, she needed everything to be correct. You know? Like, she wasn't, like, pushing the narrative at that point. She was creating a new one. So, like, I was just like, I don't get it. But
very interesting way to look at it, though.
Yeah. But, like, you should listen to a song called Now That We Don't Talk. You would love that one. Anyways. Okay, back to the story, you guys. labels want to prevent Taylor's version, like re-recordings, from ever happening again. While Taylor Swift has been racking up billions of streams with updated Taylor's versions of re-recordings of her original hits over the past couple of years, making cultural moments out of old material and simultaneously diving down the value of those old recordings that were sold away from her, record companies have been working to prohibit this sort of thing of happening ever again. So major record labels like Universal Music Group, Sony Music Entertainment, and Warner Music Group have recently overhauled contracts from new signees, according to top music attorneys, some demanding artists to wait 10, 15, and even to 30 years to re-record or re-release music after departing from the record company. Quote, the first time I saw it, I tried to get rid of it entirely. A veteran attorney states who has viewed the new restrictions and contracts says, I was just like, what is this? This is so strange. Why would we agree to any further restrictions than we have agreed to in the past? So for decades, like labels have had contracts with artists being like, listen, like you have a limited of time to, you have this amount of time that you have to wait in order to like redo the songs, or like after you leave our music industry, you have to like wait so many years or whatever. And so basically like Taylor Swift had 6 years for each album. So every album that was released, she had to wait 6 years in order to legally re-release it. And that was in the contract that she signed. So that was how she was able to re-record her music. So now they're like, these companies are like making artists sign these contracts to wait up to 30 years. That's insane.
That's wild.
I just thought it was very interesting that like Taylor Swift is now like changing up the music genre, and like this movement that she was trying to do was to try to like make artists and like the majority aware of how these like contracts are written, and like how you know, like these record labels take advantage of the artist and their craft, and like they really put them in these situations where they just like they just have no other option. So like it's just very interesting to me that these are the approaches that the record labels are taking. And I just like, if I was an artist trying to get a record label or record deal, like I would never sign with any of these record labels that were listed in this article. Like I just fucking would never.
That's crazy though. Like
JoJo.
Kind of like, yeah, and like, excuse me, is that kind of like what happened with Kesha?
Yeah,
or she just couldn't, or she couldn't make any more music.
Yes, due to her lawsuit against her producer.
Yeah, I was getting that confused with something else.
So JoJo, who we adore and love, was kind of like, back in 2017 was in the same predicament. Like for years until 2016, she didn't release any new music because she was like bound by this contract with her old record label that she like hadn't released music for over 10 years because like she wasn't allowed to. And so she hired an attorney, found a loophole within the agreement, and basically got her out of the contract where she could create new music, but then also re-record her old albums. Remember like in 2018 where she like released the 2018 versions of each album? Yeah. Which are the only albums I listened to. Like she re-recorded it. She did basically Taylor's version before Taylor's version was even a thing. And like JoJo really was the original doing it.
Yeah, she doesn't get enough credit for it. We love you, JoJo.
We love you, JoJo, and we see you. So she had to do that, and like it's just weird that they're like they're still doing this like dirty fucking work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like these companies, like it's just wild to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I never like when you think about someone becoming a big pop star, rock star, anything like that.
Right.
You don't realize like, yeah, all the contracts that they have to sign through all that shit.
Right.
And it's not just record labels, it's producers, it's also like your agents, your managers.
Right.
Like it's wild. It's crazy.
Do you remember Krayshawn? She had that Gucci Gucci song. Gucci Gucci Louis Louis Benny Benny Prada.
Oh, yes. Why was I thinking of Sean Kingston?
Oh my god. Well, no. Two different people.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a bad chick by her toe.
No, so Krayshawn was like, she's really active on Twitter, and she's like an indie artist that like had like a few songs like blow up. Like Left Eye, like her song Left Eye was in The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa?
Yeah. So that was like on that soundtrack. So like she like had this, she was signed with Sony, and she owes Sony over $800,000 for the album that they like invested in her. And basically like you have to pay that back, right? But her album just went platinum from like because it just hit like 1 billion streams or something. And she was like, it's funny that like I'm making these numbers still like after years of this album, and like I still owe this amount of money, stating that they don't make money off my album. So the music industry is like very, very weird to me, and I don't really get it.
Yes, I don't understand it either myself. But anyway.
Yes, moving on to our third and final story, you guys. Mean Girls stars Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Seyfried, and Lacey Cobert reunite for a Walmart ad. The stars of the Mean Girls movie are reuniting for a fetch new Walmart ad. The retailer courted the Mean Girls co-stars for a Black Friday ad, the first in a series of commercials featuring the cast members of the 2004 movie. So there's gonna be more than one. Wild. Okay. 3 of the plastics from the films, absent Rachel McAdams, reprised their roles reimagined as adults, plus other castmates have made an appearance, like the actors who play
Damien.
Kevin G and Damien, and also a guest appearance from Missy Elliott, which was wild.
Okay.
Now, Gretchen Wieners has a mean girl of her own, while Katie Heron is out of touch guidance counselor, and Karen Smith is still cluelessly reporting the weather. Thank God. Meanwhile, the new kids from the North Shore High block are obsessed with Walmart's Black Friday deals, which are set to begin online on November 8th. So the ad was so cute. Did you watch it?
I did.
Okay, good.
I really
Yeah.
did. It was like everywhere.
It was
by the time it like released.
Right. I mean,
for a little bit, I thought it was an actual commercial or like an like prequel or
like
know a thing for the
sequel,
actual movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but then I saw that it was for Walmart, and I'm like, Walmart, really?
I know. Well, I just thought
it's like when Hillary Duff had her own fashion line, Stuff by Duff. And I think that was at Walmart too.
What
So
about
it's
that? What about the Kohl's clothing line that she had? That was there for forever.
I thought she had a Kohl's. I thought the only people who had Kohl's was Lauren Conrad and Avril Lavigne because she had Abby Dawn merch.
Well, Hillary Duff was like had her Kohl's stuff before Lauren Conrad did. So like she was like I feel like the trailblazer for that.
Right. Well, what about Avril Lavigne though?
But is it Avril Lavigne?
I think this is before the conspiracy.
Literally. I don't know.
I was told that her real name is Abby Dawn.
I don't.
But then I was like, no, that's just the name of her clothing. But gullible me in elementary school was like, oh, really?
Same.
I got a secret under my belt.
When I was in elementary school, you should have seen me when I learned the news that Lizzie McGuire was not Hilary Duff's real name.
Fuck.
I was
You're right.
devastated, and I was made a fool, and I was lied to, and the betrayal I felt.
That's how I felt when I watched the Hannah Montana episode. Okay, I remember this, right?
Yeah.
This is when you got to meet her mom in the show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
But Hannah Montana was such a big thing that so in 3rd grade, we went on this field trip, and then we were leaving the field trip. So we were on the bus going back to school, and you would hear on the radio station, it was just a normal radio station, saying like, and don't forget to tune in tonight into Disney Channel because you get to see, Miley Stewart's real mom. And it's actually her real mom on the show, I heard. Oh, really, Bill?
Yeah.
So I thought I got so excited. I'm like, you get to see, she has both our parents on the show. I was so ecstatic.
Yeah.
And when I watched the show, I'm like, oh my God, that's her mom. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then when I would see like pictures of her mom, like in J14 magazine or something, and I'm like, that's not her mom.
That's
not her
that is
fucking mom.
Fraudulent. That's
Right?
a fraud.
I know what her fucking mom looks like. That's not her.
Phony. Phony.
That's the title of this episode.
Phony.
Fucking phony bitches.
Yeah, literally phony bitches. Like literally.
Is phony with an F or a PH?
We will soon find out because I don't know.
Because I'm trying to see it spelled out as the
I
title.
know, same. I know, same. Okay, so that was our 3rd and final story, you guys. Mean Girls.
Yes.
A Walmart ad. I literally thought like when these photos, because like photos leaked that they were on set. I thought they were on set for the musical movie.
That's
to
what
like
I thought,
make appearances
too.
at the musical.
Right, they got us.
But they did get us. But yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Faith brought it to my attention that we might not, like with the schedule that I had set up in my mind, that like Big Brother would end later than what I had anticipated. Because you're like, oh, we have to come back for the whatever. So like whenever Big Brother ends, that week is going to be our last week of podcast.
We'll do some calculating.
Yeah.
I'll Google it.
Do some
too.
calculating. Yeah, because I don't quite know
Yeah.
what the date is, but basically we'll let you guys know when it's the last episode. But and then we have season 2.
Can you believe it's already November though?
I know, literally it's November, and I was like, where did the time go?
I can't.
We started this in February, and it's like wild that we're here.
I know.
I know.
I feel like we just started like a couple months ago.
I know. I can't believe we like did the summer while like doing the podcast.
Because we were talking about taking like a whole
month off, but then we were like, no, why not?
Yeah.
I think the most we took off was 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was probably because of like scheduling conflicts or
Right.
just being sick.
Right, literally. I think I'm getting sick again and I want to die.
Love it.
Love that.
It's the season.
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching for this week's episode. If you guys are watching us, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the-chat-club-podcast. We are available anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon. We are everywhere you get your podcast. And yes, like us on or follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Chat Club. Follow Faith and I on our Instagram and TikToks. And yes, we will see you guys next week.
Bye,
guys.
y'all. It's been real.
It's been so real. Bye, guys.